My story of why I moved to Paraguay doesn't make sense to everyone. It doesn't really add up if you just hear part of it, because I also just have a job, so why would I necessarily want the tax benefits and stuff if I don't have my own company or whatever? I'd like to get into that a bit more in this video and just casually chit chat. I'm not really looking as representable as I'd like to be. Currently in Sao Paulo in Brazil, spending some time having a big city life again, which I really needed. I love Asunción, but I needed some bigger energy. I have Gossip Girl on the back with a Spanish translation to still keep that up. They speak Portuguese here, so that's something I gotta work on actively. So yeah, first of all, I was already in South America. I was in Argentina when my parents decided to go to Asunción, because for Paraguay it was really easy to get a residency, to not be obligated to stay there a couple of months a year to keep it. You only have to be there a couple of days a year, I think, to keep your residency. The other countries where you would find benefits that Paraguay has, you would have a 6-month minimum stay in the country to be able to keep your residency. Paraguay doesn't have that, so that was number one. Then you have the tax benefits, of course. And then also it's South America, and when your family, half of your family is from South America, it makes more sense to go there because you're more familiar to the country, well, not to the country, but to the culture really. Even though there are big differences, it's better to then speak Spanish again, right? Instead of going to somewhere totally different cultures, different religions, etc., etc. So those three added up, and then I guess the whole political climate looked pretty good to them, which my dad has told me about. When I was in Argentina, I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's probably like another thing, just like Dubai, which also has benefits, but it's not as perfect as they bring it. There are some things that, you know, whatever. So I was like, sure, I never heard about Paraguay. You guys do you, I do me, and I'll come visit you guys probably. So at the time I was totally done with Argentina and I really wanted to get out of there. And my plan all this time was to go to Brazil, but they were in Paraguay. So I was like, okay guys, I'm going to Brazil, but I'll come visit you guys quickly for like 2 weeks. Came to freaking Asunción. First 2 weeks were kind of boring. My parents were also, by the way, already in the process of getting their residency with a company to fix that. First 2 weeks kind of boring. We didn't really do anything. That's also just me though. When I go to a new location, I don't really do a lot of stuff. I don't know, I have to calibrate. My nervous system has to settle down. So I think at least the first week, I don't really do a lot, depending on the timeline I have in mind. But here I was also just there for my family, and Paraguay, Asunción doesn't really have any touristic activities as much. I took a walking tour to the old city center, but other than that, it's not really like another touristic place, you know? Did that, first 2 weeks didn't really like. I thought, you know, this is not my place, whatever. And then after 2 weeks, I thought, you know what, let's get out a bit more. Let's just not follow my parents only and try to find my own people like I do in every other country that I come. I went to find some groups on Facebook, ended up in some WhatsApp groups, started going out to events, meeting people. It was really nice. Just felt like it had a bit of a, I don't know how I could say, alternative, old hippie vibe when I went out and like met people for the first time. I don't know why, but it didn't feel normal at all, but in a good way though. I felt like I met people who are very creative. They all had their own business, intelligent, original. I don't know, I just felt like a lot of like-minded people as well. If you know, you know, the tourism that comes in Asunción, Paraguay is very specific, so it's not like your regular people. And for example, if you go to Brazil or Argentina, where you have a lot of tourism, you meet all kinds of people. People who are there for holidays, digital nomads, people who are running away from their life, kind of. You know, you have all types of people, and sometimes it's harder to run into people that you are kind of on the same line with, kind of in the same phase of life. And here I just felt like it was all really close to each other. So that was really nice, actually. That's the first thing that kind of came up to me. Then afterwards, social activities went so easily and quickly. I got invited to this thing, to that thing, meeting other people through private parties, asados, etc., etc. And I just felt like I didn't even have to move my foot out of the door, and I already had some plans. It was so easy, it just all came to me. All the people that I met, all the social occasions, I felt like it was all coming towards me and I didn't have to necessarily run after it, which I did feel like that was the case in Argentina. Even though there's a lot of things to attend, I just felt like the energy was the wind in my face instead of the wind in my back. And I felt like in Asunción the wind was in my back, if you know what I mean. So that was really nice. I felt like I got some momentum, just good vibes. And I decided to stay longer. And actually my parents offered me to help me out with the cedula. So I took that on because they were like, well, you never know if you want to use it at some time, and we don't know if it's going to get harder to get a cedula at a certain point. So let's just get it over with, and you have one yourself as well. Because they were going to get one. And family is, of course, a very important part in my life. So either way, if I hated or loved the country, I would have wanted to come visit my parents. So the cedula would have made sense for that as well, but wasn't gonna be necessary. I think the other reasons for me were if I'd ever want to change my employee status to like a freelancer, or if I would have my own project going on later, or all of a sudden I want to start my own company, then I could have the option to do that in a more righteous way, let's say it like that. Because even though it's all still possible, and I'd like to keep the mindset of I'm doing this because it's more strategic, not because I have to. If I were to start something in the Netherlands, I can still do that. It just means I gotta pay a lot more to the government, and I will spend a lot more days working for the government than for myself, which I don't think necessarily is fair in all cases, because you don't decide what they do with the money, right? So besides a lot of other political opinions that you may or may not have, Paraguay is great for it as well. Yeah, so I think that adds up to it, and it was just an extra nice plus that I found people who are really entrepreneurial, really free-minded, I guess, some, not all, and good vibes. But like I said before, I am someone who is absolutely obsessed with, for example, New York, and I just want to find my second place, basically. I have my residency in Asunción. I'm not making an active use out of it right now. I'm keeping that open. I have my options. I like the people there. I have family there, so I'm gonna be there a couple of months a year either way. I just like to find my city, a place where it's super international, really big, a lot of opportunities. Well, opportunities are everywhere, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, other young people like me, which you can also find in Asunción, but if you know, you know. I just love a big city. That's why I'm also in Sao Paulo. Not sure if that's gonna be the city that I will be basing myself in, I guess. I just have Asunción as a sort of home base, a base I could just be there a couple of months a year, or how long I want to be there. It's Latin, it's relaxed. I feel like my nervous system is able to slow down there, but still have some stimuli going on, you know, still meeting people, having a good time, but also being able to really slow down in life and relax a bit more. So yeah, I hope that makes a bit more sense. Maybe if you're in the same position as me, it would be still interesting for you to do it. I'll be continuing on with my journey of finding the city that I'd like to be most of the time. If I end up not finding anything, it will probably be Amsterdam, but I just like to find something that's a bit more out of my comfort zone, that will just push me even more and will be kind of exposing and pushing me to do better and reach my full potential. Anyways, enough positive mindset grinding talk. I hope this made sense, and I'm gonna continue my Gossip Girl session. Looking this video back in the meantime, sincerely apologizing for my chickeny hair, but it's just life. You know, I can't always be here with slick hair.